Welcome everyone to our June 16th, 2026 Midvale City Council meeting. We have a packed agenda today. We just had our second budget open house in the Dahl Conference Room. So we'll actually have another. I think it's scheduled for the first Tuesday in July, but more details on that. But for now, we will start as we normally do with a Pledge of Allegiance, if you'll stand and repeat. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, thank you. I was not laughing at the pledge, but I was laughing at the arrival of a guest here. Welcome. Moving on, we'll do a roll call, see who's here. Rory, I understand you have a very special event happening on Saturday, so we wish you all of the best in your upcoming wedding, and the next time you join us, it will be with a different last name.
Yes, thank you.
Awesome. Will you see who's here and who's not here?
Thanks, Mayor. Councilmember Glover.
Here.
Billings. Here. Mikalash. Here. Brown.
Here.
And Robinson. Here.
Okay, that is all of us. We have a quorum. We can proceed. Next up on the agenda, Unified Fire Authority report. Here to give that, as always, Chief K, who I've been hanging out with in one form or another today since 7:30 a.m.
Yep, it's good to be here. See you again. Thanks for allowing me to present. A couple of things from UFA. Just wanted to let you guys know that much like all of you, we finally got through our budget today. So the UFA board approved the final budget, and so good news there. So we can take a break for a few months and then start all over. So it'll be good. Like we've been talking about the last couple of times I've presented, holiday season, so especially dry this year, so we want to make a big emphasis on fireworks safety for the year. This year's reminder is simple: safety doesn't take a vacation. So residents are encouraged to review the 2026 interactive fireworks restriction map before using fireworks, and they can find that on our website. This map helps them determine where they can legally discharge fireworks. Under Utah law, they may be discharged from July 2nd through July 5th, and again through 22nd through the 25th, 11 a.m. to 11 p.m. On the 4th and the 24th, those hours are extended to midnight. A couple of safety tips for the holiday season. Like I said, check the interactive fireworks restriction map. Keep a charged garden hose or a bucket of water nearby. Use fireworks only on a flat, hard surface away from dry grass, brush, trees, homes, and vehicles. UFA is prepping for the holiday season. We're going to upstaff 4 additional wildland engines and 2 water tenders for the holiday. And also this season on our red flag weather days, we're going to upstaff 2 additional Type 6 engines. So some extra preparedness that we're working on as we're anticipating a busy wildland season. For the month of May, total calls in Midvale 355. Of those, 122 we considered emergent, so 34%. You continue to maintain your position as the 3rd busiest city that we serve. Our turnout times remain good, with our average turnout time of 1 minute and 40 seconds. So that's the end of my report. I'll take any questions.
Any questions for Chief?
You said we were the 3rd. What are the first 2?
Taylorsville and Mill Creek.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much, Chief. We appreciate it. Next up, we have 2 proclamations tonight. I'm going to reverse the order of them, if that's okay with everyone. So the first one will be a proclamation recognizing Juneteenth National Independence Day. So I'll read that proclamation. I will note that there are a lot of different people who celebrate this holiday on different days for one reason or another, even though it is literally a holiday that celebrates one specific day of the calendar. So I will say Midvale City is very ahead of the curve when it comes to this. We celebrate Juneteenth on Juneteenth when it is meant to be celebrated, and we'll let other cities and entities celebrate the way that they want to, but we felt as a council a few years ago it was very important to celebrate it on the day that it was intended to be celebrated on. So, all of that said, whereas Juneteenth, National Independence Day, observed annually on June 19th, marks the day in 1865 when news of freedom reached enslaved Black Americans in Galveston, Texas, more than 2 years after the Emancipation Proclamation had been issued. And whereas this occasion serves as a significant moment to reflect on our nation's history, acknowledging both the painful legacy of slavery and the enduring pursuit of freedom and equality. And whereas the cultural contributions, achievements, and resilience of Black Americans have profoundly influenced and enriched our nation and communities, and whereas Midvale City is committed to fostering an environment of inclusivity, respect, and opportunity, recognizing that embracing our shared history helps build a stronger and more unified community. And whereas since its designation as a federal holiday in 2021, Juneteenth has been increasingly observed nationwide as a time for education, reflection, celebration, and renewed dedication to equity and justice. Now therefore be it resolved that Mayor Dustin Gettle and the City Council of Midvale City hereby proclaim June 19th, 2026 as Juneteenth National Independence Day in Midvale City and encourage all residents to participate in activities that honor freedom, promote understanding, and strengthen our collective commitment to a more equitable future. Adopted the 16th day of June 2026, signed by me, the mayor, and all 5 city council members. Moving on, we have another proclamation, and this one, pretty special. This is the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence on July 4th, 1776 in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. Shout out to Pennsylvania, where I am from and where Bryant once lived near, so that's good enough. But because this is kind of a elevated event, it's not every day that we celebrate the 250th anniversary of our country. I have a special surprise for everyone for this proclamation. So if you'll bear with me, can everyone hear me? Yes, I have a handheld microphone as well. We have a special guest to read this proclamation, and literally no one knows about this in this room, so it's going to be pretty fun. Matt's a little worried. He thought I was going to do a UFC fight at City Hall, but I promise no UFC fights at City Hall. But we have a special guest. Would you come join us? General Washington is here. General Washington, if you don't mind me asking, see, you've been dead for about 227 years. Coming back to all of these great celebrations in the United States, you must have seen a lot of very impressive things that just boggle your mind. Can you tell us just what's the most impressive thing that you've seen since being back?
Well, first of all, I have to state that I'm a little bummed that somebody else has tried to take the George W. route with presidency. That was kind of my thing, but I've enjoyed a lot. There's a lot going on in this country, this wonderful country. I had a little something to do with, but what I've really been impressed with is what you're doing here in Midvale. This Main Street, revitalizing this, because Main Street is the artery of any town. That is what made USA. In fact, you're doing this is great. If I could put a little suggestion, I'm seeing you've got my little Delaware thing there, but I've seen a lot of these murals. Wondered if maybe you could do old George a favor and maybe do a mural, of me. Across.
Yeah, well, we could think about maybe a Washington crossing the Delaware mural, or maybe a Washington crossing the Jordan River, although we wouldn't want necessarily to put anyone into West Jordan, but yeah, we'll figure something out. But would you do us the honor, General President George Washington, of reading this proclamation?
Come up.
Yes.
You're not on the camera.
Oh, yeah, no, we're going to go over here. And if you want to read this is our America 250 proclamation.
Let's make sure you're on the camera. Okay, you're good.
Anything for you.
Thank you.
All right. This is the Midvale City Proclamation celebrating the United States 250th anniversary. whereas July 4th, 2026 marks the 250th anniversary of the signing of the Declaration of Independence of the United States of America, and whereas for 2.5 centuries, the United States has stood as a beacon of liberty, equality, and democratic ideals, inspiring generations of Americans to uphold the principles of freedom and opportunity. And whereas the city of Midvale recognizes the importance of honoring the courage, vision, and sacrifices of the nation's founders, as well as the countless individuals who have contributed to building and sustaining our democracy. And whereas this semi-quincentennial celebration offers an opportunity for residents of Midvale to reflect upon our shared history, celebrate our diverse culture, and reaffirm our commitment to civic engagement, unity, and community service. And whereas Midvale City encourages residents to participate in educational programs, community events, and acts of service held throughout the region and nation that commemorate this historic anniversary and strengthen our shared identity as Americans. And whereas the commemoration of this historic milestone encourages all residents to honor the past, celebrate the present, and inspire future generations to continue the pursuit of liberty and justice for all. Now, therefore, be it resolved that Mayor Dustin Gettle and the City Council of Midvale City do hereby proclaim 2026 as a year of celebration of the 250th anniversary of the United States and encourage all residents to participate in activities and observances that commemorate the 250th anniversary of the United States of America, adopted this 16th day of June, 2026.
Thank you, President Washington. I couldn't have said it better myself.
But you did.
I tried. Now, we have this thing, you might not be familiar with it, although you got very used to a microphone very quickly. We have this thing where we take photographs of people that last forever.
You know how long that one
It's very
took?
complicated, yes. So we would like, if the council would like, to get a picture of you and recognizing the proclamation out in the lobby, if you would.
I'd be happy
If
to.
you would. So honor us with your presence out there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
On the agenda may address the city council now. We just ask that you state your name for the record, step up to the mic, and you'll be given 3 minutes.
Thank you, everyone, for being here, and that was great. That was fun. This is, I had a great, Chad Thomas. I just want to tell everybody that I went to my first Midvale event, I guess, on Saturday, and I'm just so happy. I felt proud, and I know you guys have worked really hard on that, and I just wanted to tell you it was fun. It was fun to see a lot of people there, and it doesn't mean much from me, but I think you guys should be proud, because I don't like very much of anything, but I like that, and it was fun. And so I just want to thank you guys for all your work with that.
Thank you, Chad, and we hope to see you, there'll be a car show later this summer on Main Street, then we'll have Halloween on Main Street, and then a Light Up Main Street in December. So we hope to see you at all those events and share in the joy. So thank you for your comments. Anyone else like to address the public? Step right up. State your name for the record.
Chief Jason Mazur, Unified Police Department. I just want to quickly get up and acknowledge your chief. Probably about 2.5 years ago, she came up with a project, and we've been working on it for a long time. But as you know, the mental health of first responders is very, very important to her. And we were able to team up with some other organizations and create what was called Level Up, which was retired professional baseball players, other athletes, mixed martial arts fighters, to send all our officers to and learn about strategies and mechanisms to deal with their mental health. And that culminated in a baseball game that was done at the Bees Stadium on Saturday. She sat on a panel for mental health, and it was fire versus police. And I'm very sad to report the fire won.
They look happy back.
Yeah. But it was a great event, and I wanted to publicly acknowledge Chief Morse. She was central to that effort that took a long time and has benefited not just our department, but officers and first responders all over the county. So she did a great job, and I wanted you to know that because she won't tell you that, but I will. So thanks.
Thank you, Chief, and thank you, Chief Morse, for putting that together. It's unfortunate that we had Mural Fest the same night, because a lot of us would love to be there, but we understand it was very well attended, and we hope that we do it again sometime, because I am trying to get on one of those teams. I don't know which one. You guys will probably fight over who doesn't get me on their team, but that would be fun. So thank you for all you did to put that together. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Come on up and state your name for the record.
Hello, my name is Bruno Vieira. I'm citizen of Midville about almost 4 years, and I'm here. I would like to say thank you for you guys to open the doors for me, and I'm very glad to be here, start to see the people who worked very hard for the Midville citizens, and yeah, so we've been trying to participate in more, so I got invited by my neighbor, Danny, and I also do the same for the next one, because I think it's very important to have more people participating and see how you guys work, what you guys pretending for the whole city, and I hope you guys start keeping going, working hard for us, because we really need to have this transparency and all of this help for you guys. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Bruno. Appreciate those comments. Is there anyone else who would like to address the council? Okay, seeing none, we will move on then to council reports, and we'll start, as we always do, in District 1. Councilmember Bonnie Billings.
Thank you, Mayor. I just wanted to, also recognize Chief Morse. Congratulations on a successful event. Midville is so lucky to have you as our chief. I'm so glad that you're a part of our city. I also wanted to recognize Midville City staff for an incredible event on Saturday at Los Miros. There was people here the entire time. It was crowded. There was dancing in the streets. We had lots of people coming up to our council booth and just thanking us for the event, and constantly making sure all that credit goes to the city staff. We do have the best staff here. We had a great event, and I'm so proud to be part of that. We did have a council booth this year, kind of for the first time, where council hung out at the booth to talk to people as they came by, to make sure that they knew what we were looking at, what they were looking at, and giving them maps. It was really, really fun to connect with residents in that way. So again, thank you so much to the city staff. It was a great event.
Okay, thank you. Moving on, District 2, Councilmember Paul Glover.
I'd like to echo the Mural Fest. That was a good time. Spent some time down there and enjoyed. And I do believe it's probably the most people we've had to attend any activity that we've had. So congratulations to our staff and for everybody participating. Thank you.
Thank you. District 3, Councilmember Heidi Robinson.
Thanks, Mayor. I too would like to echo my appreciation for Chief Morse. I think we got really lucky with you, and I hope you know that, and I hope you know we appreciate everything you do. I also want to echo Councilmember Billings' statements about Mural Fest. I would like to thank the artists. I would like to thank everybody who attended, but I think a real serious shout out needs to go to the city staff. I don't think people understand that a lot of that is done on volunteer time. So they are here on their own volition, and they were here. I left after 10 o'clock, and they were still here, cleaning up and putting things away. And I think it's something special to be said for our city staff, because they genuinely care about this city. And in events like that, it shows. And I just want to express my deepest gratitude for you guys, because I think half of the reason that we're so successful is that your love of this city comes through on these events. So I appreciate it, and thank you.
Thank you. District 4, Councilmember Bryant Brown.
Yeah, thanks. I'd like to echo everything that has been said, with how grateful we are with our chief. I do want to say one thing about the Mural Festival that I enjoyed is a lot of people turned out. It just feels like it's maturing too. Like the vendor booths are better. I really enjoyed that musical group playing musical instruments. I don't even know what they were. There was like this electronic looking saxophone that I sat and stared at for like 30 minutes. It was so cool to see. I don't even know what it was. So it's not just that, yes, it was successful. It's like becoming a thing, right? For more than just people, within walking distance. So, proud of the city, obviously it's all the staff. We just sort of show up and try to help, but the city does such a great job, and just grateful that we're here.
Okay, thank you. District 5, Councilmember Denise Mikalash.
Thank you, Mayor. I'm also going to call out Chief Morris, but I have a request. I would like you at some point to share the stats around mental health for our first responders at one of these meetings, because I sat through that at the Citizens Academy, and I walked away going, what can we do to help, right? Like, that was the most impactful thing that you told us about how their lifespan is shortened because of what they do, and that they're doing it in the service of the community and the people. So that would be my request, in addition to everything else that you've done. But I think getting that out was just eye-opening, so that would be my request. I also want to say thank you. The Mural Festival was amazing. As we said, we worked the council table. What I thought, after hearing everything that you've all said, is that the vision of Midvale being an arts and culture district and people wanting to come here was a success, right? And I think that's why we all volunteer, why we were there for 4 hours talking to visitors and residents, is because we're so excited. So many people stopped and said, I had no idea this was happening. How great the street is. I want to invite my friends, my family. Like, that's really, to me, the success, is that they love what they saw and they want to come back over and over again. So thank you for the vision, the staff, and all the hard work. So looking forward to next year. Set the bar high. Go for it.
Okay, thank you, Councilmember. For my report, a number of things. I've already expressed my gratitude to Chief Morris, but again, thank you for all you do in that area of mental health care for our first responders. It's very important work. And Denise, Councilmember Mikalash, and I were at Citizens Academy together, and yes, that's the thing. Of all of the things that we did, including active shooter training, which still scared the heck out of me, the number, I think, was 58. Is that the average life expectancy for? Yeah, 22 years less. 22 less, yeah, years life expectancy for a police officer. And that's something that I don't think the general public, I had never heard that number before, and I was blown away by it in, you know, the worst possible way. So anything that we can do as elected officials to close that gap and make it so that it's not 22 less years, please let us know what we can do to support you in that effort. So thank you. I did want to thank everyone here at the city for all of their work on the Mural Festival. It touches every department in the city. There are some departments, I'm seeing Kate in the back and Moira in the back, that it might touch a little bit more of during the month leading up to it. But they're literally everyone who works here at City Hall has some part to play in how successful the Mural Festival was. So we do want to thank the vendors who showed up, and of course everyone who came out to support Mural Festival, but those here at City Hall who were so successful in making it, again, it was, you know, I won't say a dream come true, but these are the things that we dreamt about whenever we started putting money into Main Street and started to come up with events and things we would like to see on Main Street. So having now 50 murals, hopefully we're going to count and make sure, but that number has been very important to me because we've always been hovering around 50. So I'm hoping at some point we can say we have 50 or more than 50. That's how my brain works, so sorry. But I did want to thank too, so most of you know, last week I also, bad time to get sick, but I had some sort of virus that was going around, and it happened to be like in the middle of all the prep work of Harvest Days. So there were, or not Harvest Days, but Mural Festival, and there were a lot of people who stepped up specifically. I don't think, as long as I've been mayor, I've never asked someone to clear my schedule for me because I was physically incapable of doing the job that day. But that did happen last week, and there were a number of people, City Manager Dahl, and also Councilmember Mikulash, who handled a Fox 13 news report for me. So thank you for everyone who stepped in for those couple of days. And yes, I am feeling better now, not contagious, we're good to go. But I did want to thank those who stepped in for that. Also wanted to, just a real brief update. So you guys know the Recreation Bond Advisory Board has been formulated. I was elected to that board. They did also elect me chair of the board, which I think is pretty significant for Midvale. I mean, it's better to have the mayor of Midvale be the chair of that committee than not to be the chair of the committee. So I just wanted to report there were 19 projects that were submitted, you know, like ours. Like we submitted our project in the bucket of funding that will be paid out for new projects. And so there were 19 projects that were submitted. 14 of those projects were rejected by the county for one reason or another. Could be a funding issue, could be a land ownership issue. So that puts us down to 5 remaining cities on this list. And of those 5, there are only 2 of these projects are rec centers. The others are significant projects for their cities, but not ones that are expected to be, you know, tens of millions of dollars, like renovating a baseball field in Harriman, you know, probably a couple $100,000 at the most. So legitimately, if the county is to award a recreation center this round of recreation bond funding, not ZAP funding. They want us to be very clear that this is no longer part of the ZAP program, but it is its own recreation bond program. So it's really 2 cities who are eligible at this point for a recreation center. Midvale City is one of those. Thank you, Matt, for the great application you put together. And also West Jordan. So if the county is to award any city this funding cycle, a rec center, we are down to one of 2 cities who would be in the running for that. So that's very good news. July 10th, we'll actually do presentations to the board, which is going to be awkward because Matt's going to be there and I'm going to be the chair of the committee. We'll have to figure out how that works. I might forget to tell West Jordan to show up on July 10th. That's a joke, everyone. That is a joke. They will be there. But I wanted to report back to the council The funding mechanism could be that no city gets a rec center just due to constraint of funding, but definitely a better place to be in one of two than, 0 of 32. So we're in good shape there, and if there's anything, if I can take any direction from the council as chair of that board, I'd be happy to listen to your suggestions. But wanted to give you that update. That is enough for me. You've heard my voice enough tonight. Let's move on to City Manager Matt Dahl.
All right, thank you, Mayor. Just a few things for you this evening. A couple of them have to do with road closures due to some upcoming projects. The first one I wanted to make sure was on your mind is that staff has been working with UDOT to repair some temporary patches that have been in 7200 South. I don't know if you guys have noticed that there is the patch that's on at Holden and 7200 South, or sorry, 700 West and 7200 South, and then another one that's a little bit further east. Those are temporary patches. Staff has been working with UDOT in order for us to make sure that we have our contractor following all the right rules and meeting their schedule. But that means that this Saturday will be the day that we will be working on getting the permanent patches put in there. That will result in lane closures on Saturday, not all of the lanes westbound on 7200 South, west of I-15. But there will be lane closures, which means that will be congested in that area. We have electronic signage that has already gone up on that. We'll be doing more communication to help inform people of the situation. But the hope is that we'll be able to get it done quickly. Is there anything else I need to say about those patches? Saturday, right?
Yeah, Saturday, they're going to do half of the large patch just west of the freeway. And then on the 27th, they'll do the other half, so they don't have to do a full closure of 7200.
Okay, so that's, now it's
Two Saturdays.
Sorry, my misunderstanding on that. Glad you clarified. So that is coming up. The other one, which I have notes on, so I'm not going to get the details wrong on this one. But we talked about it at the last city council meeting. We know this one will also have some impacts, but it is the closure of Main Street at Wasatch for a sewer system repair project. That will result in a closure that will go from June 22nd through July 1. Local residents and business access will be maintained throughout the project. However, access may be impacted at times based off of what's happening at that specific moment. Street parking restrictions will also be in effect during that time. Nolan and Son Construction is the contact for residents. There are multiple different ways that we have been communicating on this, including door hangers, social media posts, our electronic signs, and other types of notification as well. Even with that notification, we know that it will be a challenge, and we'll do our best to try to accommodate residents the best that we can. The next thing that I just wanted to mention is just a discussion of discourse with the public. And I think that sometimes, I think we live in a time where people disagree hard, and so it feels like every disagreement means that we're not getting along. Last week, we had an incident at City Hall where there was someone who was not happy with something that we were doing, and we ended up having to end that conversation. But as we were walking away, the person said, "It is your job as a public employee to be berated by me and take it." And that is clearly bad discourse. And, it's unfortunate that happened, but I think we live in a time where people think that that is an okay thing to say and do. And that's really unfortunate while we have people who are putting in a lot of time. Now, that being said, it is helpful for us to have communication with different members of the community who have different concerns, different ways of communicating with us, because it helps remind me as a staff member that sometimes I use jargon that isn't helpful, but I don't even realize I'm saying these things. And it helps remind me that even though we're in all these meetings and we kind of sometimes use shorthand, that that doesn't communicate well out in our documents. Now, some of the stuff we have to go over is so complex that if you If you truncate it, then I think people will say we're not giving all the information. But if we give all the information, sometimes it'll feel like we're also trying to like hide things. So with that, I just want to say that with this budget, we have had different people reach out. Today, we got to spend time with a resident who had a lot of questions, and I won't say any names, but I appreciate their interest in what's going on in the city. And I appreciate their reminder that sometimes we need to think about how people who aren't always engaged in what we're doing are understanding what we're saying. And while we always strive to be better communicators, and there's many people on our staff who tell me that I need to change how I communicate, it's always good to get that reminder, and we can always do better. And so I appreciate that resident and all of the residents who have participated in this process. And that recognize that even if we have differences, that doesn't mean that that is a problem. It just means it's something that we can work on. I feel differently about the person who said that we just have to take his beratement. Earlier today, Mariah reminded me that I need to do a positive sandwich. And so this might be more of a pizza, but with how I discuss things. So I did want to end, I know everyone has said this already, but I do want to just also share my appreciation for the efforts that staff put into the events. You guys have sort of covered this. I apologize for repeating some of this. But the important thing to, is this is years in the making. This isn't just the events. This is the work that staff has done, working with people who are investing in our community in order to build the infrastructure, the buildings, to bring the businesses in, and do all of those kinds of things that make these kind of events successful. This is years and years of work by very talented staff. I also want to say, and you guys have been very gracious, and I'm very appreciative of the kind things that you have said about the staff that have put in that extra time. It's important to remember that I don't believe that we actually put in any of their job descriptions that they will be event planners when they join, except for one who is the newest event planner. But for years, these events were put on by staff who are then working on development agreements, are then, working on, fixing water leaks the next day for the public works staff that's helping us. And so, that's very important. The comment that was made that I don't remember who it was about this event maturing is really accurate, and that does come from us hiring an event person who is focusing on that and is working on improving those events. And Millie should definitely be recognized for the work that she did. And I'm not going to list all the staff members that helped with the mural festival, but I do think it's important to, we only have one event staff person, but everyone is involved in every staff, or in every event. So with that, thank you for your time, and that's all I have this evening.
Okay, thank you so much, City Manager Dahl. And I will say regarding that incident, I think I can speak in a different way than the city manager can speak as an elected official and some of our other employees. I want to make sure that all of our employees know that you do not have to accept beratement at any time from any resident who comes in for any issue whatsoever. I mean, we get it. We deal in customer service, and a lot of times people aren't necessarily happy with the decisions that we're making. But I am very protective of the staff members here, and I don't want anyone to have to be berated and think that that's just part of their job when they come in Monday through Friday. If someone wants to berate an employee, send me out there. I'll certainly listen to them. But that particular incident, I know, rattled a number of our staff members, and I'm thankful to those staff members who definitely did not return fire with this particular resident. So enough said on that. World Cup watch, just real quick, for those of you interested, Argentina is leading Algeria 1-0 in the 36th minute.
What if we're recording it?
Well, sorry. Okay, no more updates, no more World Cup updates, that's the only one. Moving on, public hearing, we have one public hearing tonight, and that is to consider a Midvale City initiated rezone for the Midvale City Public Works Complex located in the vicinity of 8196 South Main Street between Ivy Drive and the southern terminus of the Midvale City Public Works Complex to be uniformly zoned clean industrial and public facilities overlay, including removal of the Jordan Bluffs 1 through 3 zone and the clean industrial Jordan Bluffs overlay zone. Here to discuss this. Thank you, guys. Sorry I didn't give you a shout out. Shout out UFA. We love you. Here to discuss this is not Vendelin, who's on the agenda, but Adam Olson. Adam, take us through this.
Thank you, Mayor. I know that's quite the agenda title to read through, but we'll make it easy to digest. This is for the existing Public Works property and the property recently acquired for the Public Works expansion. It will be expanded to the north all the way up to Ivy Drive, and it needs to have a uniform zone. And with that, what will apply through the entire area will be the public facilities overlay and the clean industrial zone. The removal of zones are the clean industrial Jordan Bluffs overlay and the Jordan Bluffs sub-area 1 through 3. So this will just give everything a uniform zone designation. This is the first phase of the reconstruction or expansion of Public Works. This will be a parking lot just south of Ivy Drive, basically at the corner of Ivy and Main. Just another visual of the parking lot. This just has a fence exhibit included. The Planning Commission was just interested in how that would look, so we included it in your packet as well. The rezone criteria that are found in the code, we have, as staff, we've found that all 3 of them are met, and therefore the rezone is eligible to move forward. And with that, there's a motion for your consideration.
Thank you, Adam. Any questions from council? Okay, this is a public hearing. Is there a motion to open this to public comment?
Mayor, I motion we open public comment.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, we are in public comment. If there's anyone from the public who would like to speak on this issue, now's the time to do it. Just step up to the microphone, and again, you'll be given 3 minutes.
I just have a question. It's more of a question. I know I read in the plans that the complex is getting a wash bay. Where did they wash their vehicles before? And that's it. That's
Yeah, great question. We'll leave that to Jeremy, the new Public Works Director.
So we currently have a wash bay. Some of our vehicles do not really even fit in it. It's in a building that's over 40 years old. It's dilapidated and past its life cycle. And so we do have a wash bay. We wash everything we can within that wash bay. It's difficult when we wash our trucks after a snowplow event. We have to wash all the salt out, and getting in there and getting that done efficiently is very hard for us to do. And this new wash bay will have mezzanine, which we can walk up with a spray hose to make us more efficient and get us in and out quicker in the cleanup process, as well as the rest of our large vehicles that don't fit.
And just to add to that real quickly, not only will this allow you to be more efficient in washing the vehicles, but the mere act of thoroughly washing the vehicles, we're talking about vehicles, some of them, $500,000 vehicles. So keeping them washed and clean and free of dirt and mud is something that's going to extend their life cycle significantly.
That's correct. It's also part of our environmental compliance too, that we have to wash inside and go into the sewer, the sanitary sewer.
Thank you, Jeremy. Great question. Anyone else like to address the public? Okay, is there a motion to close public comment?
Mayor, I motion we close the public comment.
Second?
Okay, there's a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Yes.
Any opposed? Okay, we are out of public comment. There is an action item, and the motion is on the board for you guys.
Mayor, I move that we approve ordinance number 2026-020, authorizing the Midvale City initiated rezone for the Midvale City Public Works Complex located in the vicinity of 8196 South Main Street between Ivy Drive and southern terminus of the Midvale City Public Works Complex, to be uniformly zoned clean industrial and public facilities overlay with the findings identified in the staff report.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the roll?
Yes, Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Mikalash.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
And Glover.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you for the report and for answering that question, Jeremy. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have one item tonight, and that is to consider the minutes of June 2nd, 2026. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
All right, motion, we approve the consent agenda?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Mikalash.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
And Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on, we have 67 action items tonight. No, that's a slight exaggeration. Whatever the letter J, whatever number that is how many action items we have. The first one, consider resolution number 2026 R32, approving the 2022 to 2027 Midvale City Pavement Restoration Project cost adjustment for fiscal year 2027. Here to discuss that is Brandon Anderson, who is not at the podium right now, but we have Adam again.
Wearing a couple hats tonight. Thank you, Mayor and Council. This is, again, as you stated, it's the pavement restoration cost adjustment for fiscal year 2027. In 2022, Midvale entered into the pavement restoration contract with Kilgore. As part of that contract, the unit prices are able to be annually adjusted, and they are looked at. The most recent adjustment proposal, it was reviewed by Brandon, the city engineer, and found acceptable. And the cost adjustment, which is in the updated contract of $383,359 and just short of 50 cents, falls within the approved pavement management budget. And with that, there's a motion for your consideration. We are asking to suspend the rules just so that the contract can move forward and that the pavement management program can be continued. So.
Okay, thank you. Adam, any questions or comments from council?
This is an ongoing program.
Correct. Okay, there's a motion for council to consider.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules and approve resolution number 2026-R-32, approving the fourth contract amendment with Kilgore Contracting for execution of the 2022 to 2027 pavement restoration services agreement.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Councilmember Mikalash.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. The next few action items, B through G, Mariah is going to be giving some instructions here, but basically she's going to do one presentation and then we'll handle the action items individually after that. They don't need a separate presentation to them. Did I say that correctly, Mariah?
Yeah.
Okay,
Good evening,
perfect.
Mayor and Council. So because the next 7 or so items are all to do with the interim budget and the adoption and of proposed and certified tax rates, I'm just going to present everything all together, though at any point when you go down the agenda or during the presentation, please stop me if you have questions, but I am presenting everything as a whole here. Just a reminder of what our, another note is that the mayor and I have discussed it, and I have slightly condensed the budget presentation because we've heard it a few times for the public. So just, again, also if there's information you feel like I've left out that I've presented before that I need to speak to, I'm happy to do that. For the budget timeline, this began for me in January, but first came to the council in the beginning of April for our budget and strategy workshop. You all adopted a tentative budget on May 5th per state code. We had a tentative budget public hearing last meeting on June 2nd. In this meeting, we're asking you to adopt the interim budget, the certified tax rate, and the proposed public safety property tax increase. And then we will hold our special meeting for the public hearing on truth and taxation on August 11th at 6 p.m. here in City Hall, and we'll adopt the final budget at that time. Here's just an overview of the revenues that fund the general fund. that's the wrong title. This is the changes since the tentative budget. So between the tentative budget and what you'll be adopting tonight as the interim budget, I wanted to run through these really quick. We got the certified tax rate, which included the new growth. I didn't have those numbers, so that's the changes to our property tax revenue. We projected a slight increase in our sales tax, 0.25%. We've got changes to the building permits and B&C road funds. Those are restricted monies and change as the expenditures change in those departments. We got back the actual numbers for our liquor funds allocation. With more data, I've felt comfortable upping our fines and forfeitures revenues, and then an increase of use and fund balance because we had some additional one-time expenditures come in. Additionally, we had some changes to salaries and benefits. I'll talk about that in a little bit, but we changed the 3% COLA to 3.5%, and I realized that the targeted market adjustments that we've discussed were not included in the tentative budget, so those are now in this. And then we had the one-time grant, I'm just going to go through these right now because they're up here. The one-time grant to the Boys and Girls Club that was discussed last meeting. We've had the need to add additional professional service funds for our city attorney in relation to some of our retirement services. As one time, the city float needed to be redone. Lauren helped me remember that we need that. We had an employee say they are going to use our education reimbursement program. We had removed that, but knowing somebody will use it, we put that back in, as well as we have a known unemployment insurance claim that needed to be added. We removed some education and travel money from my budget, and then some slight adjustments for actuals in the building inspection department. As for where we landed in the interim budget for overall general fund revenues, we're just over $24 million. As I've talked about in the year-to-year comparisons this year aren't quite as valuable as they've been in the past because of some of accounting changes and some of adjusting what's going on with the public safety fund and things like that. So we are showing a decrease of 18.3%, but that's not apples to apples. That's apples to oranges from last year. Our taxes are coming in at about $18.4 million. Licenses and permits, $871,000. Our intergovernmental revenues, $1.4 million. Charges for services, $2.3 million. Fines and forfeitures, $680,000. Our miscellaneous revenue, $188,000. And then our use of fund balance is not 74, it's $201,000. Just to break down our tax revenue, since that is the largest portion of our general fund, our sales tax is just over $11.6 million. This is a $375,000 increase over fiscal year 2025, and that's because in fiscal year 2026, we projected a decrease in sales tax revenue, and we have seen have that shown a little more stable, and so I do feel comfortable holding it just at or just above the fiscal year 2025 actual amount. Though every month I get a new piece of that story, and so that can change. Our property taxes, we are having an increase of $140,000. Our new growth is just over $30,000. That's the best I've seen it in about 4 years, so that's pretty exciting. And then the RDA Main Street triggered, and so they collect all the property taxes and remit some back to the city, and so that's our portion, our 20% or whatever that comes from the RDA Main Street. We are having about $300,000 decrease in our franchise and telecom tax. The best I can note, this is the taxes that come from gas and energy bills, and I know Pacificor raised their prices, but it seems like maybe Dominion Energy decreased their prices, and then just because we've had temperate weather, people aren't using as much gas or electricity to heat or cool their home, and so we are seeing a decline in that. And then our other taxes, delinquent property transient room tax and motor vehicle in lieu of tax, are about $831,000. But sales tax is the largest chunk of that, and so I know you guys see this every time, but I think it's my best graphic I've ever made. So our sales tax overview is when you spend $1 in the state of Utah, you're going to pay about 7.45%, at least in Midvale, it's 7.45%. 1% of that is the local use and sales tax, so that brings you to our penny graphic. Half of that penny comes directly to Midvale because it was a point of sale. The other half goes into a population pool, so everyone puts that half into the whole statewide pool, and then it's distributed to entities based on their population compared to the state as a whole. For us, starting with our June distribution from this Sales Tax Commission, our population factor has declined. Midvale hasn't grown at the rate that the rest of the state has, essentially. So as I said, we're having just over $11.6 million in sales tax revenue is my projection. This is distributed to the city monthly by the Utah State Tax Commission. It's on a 2-month delay. So what we got in May was for sales that happened in March. It is our most susceptible tax to economic trends. Statewide sales tax is still showing a 1 to 2% overall growth, though it was worth noting that that isn't always true for Midvale. There's months when the state sees overall growth and we see a decline in our sales tax revenue. So while the state's trends are important, they don't always show back up in Midvale exactly the same. And I listen to a lot of economic updates whenever I can, and we are showing continued signs of slowing, declines in consumer spending and confidence. There's a lot of that's related to the price of oil, and that reflects right back onto how people spend. So I'm curious to see next week we get new data and what that will look like. All right, and we're going to jump into property tax, a little property tax 101. That property tax rates in Utah are revenue-driven, not rate-driven. So when the city, we set a property tax rate based on the amount of money that we're going to get. And if we held that amount of money equal year to year, like we are going to in the general fund, then when property values increase, then our property tax rate is going to decrease. And that happened this year, so we can show a good example of that. Other things to note is that primary residential properties receive a 45% exemption on their taxable value, and then new growth or truth in taxation process is required for a taxing entity to generate additional property tax revenue above what we got last year. So we finally, I've been telling you guys, we don't have the 2026 tax information. Got it at 4:30 p.m. on Friday, so here we are. The total taxable value for, I'm pretty good at speaking numbers out loud. I'm not going to do that one. But it was a about 1.4% increase over the total taxable value from last year. So that's where we're going to get our new growth number from. So about $33 million in new value in the city. And the average Midvale residential value this year is $503,000. That's about a 2.25% increase from last year. And then the average then taxable residential value, just that 55%, it's about $275,000. So those are the numbers that all the next numbers come from. So for the certified tax rate for the city, this is for the general operations, the tax that's been in place for a long time. We'll talk separately about the public safety property tax, but the certified tax rate that we were given is 0.000908. Last year, that rate was 0.000918. So that's that good example of property taxes increased, our tax rate decreased. The property tax revenue that will be generated by that certified tax rate is just under $3.5 million. Our new growth is just over $30,000, and there will have no change from last year on the average residential value, just over $250 annually on the average residential value, that $503,000 for the certified tax rate for general operations. And then just okay, that's the certified tax rate. I'm going to go down, finish out the general fund, because that's the property taxes in the general fund. We'll talk about the public safety property tax in a moment. For expenditures in the general fund, our main expenditures is our personnel. For all of the increases and changes for our personnel, that total about $350,000 increase in the general fund. I've talked about we allocated where employees are paid from. I learned that this might be a bit of a confusing concept, but essentially, because all of our money is in different funds, we want to make sure that our employees are being paid out of the fund in which their time is being spent, and we can break that out into pieces. So any given employee could be paid out of 4 funds. Jeremy's a good example. He works out of all of the public works departments, and so he has a piece of his salary paid out of each of those funds. So we went through and did an audit this year to make sure that where people were being paid from is where they were spending their time. So that made adjustments to where our salaries and wages what they look like. So they don't all just have this nice 3.5% increase because of those changes. We do have a citywide 3.5% COLA, which matches the May Western CPI, 1% merit, and then targeted market and midpoint adjustments. Our benefits are medical increase 5%, dental 4.6%, and our URS contributions decrease. Those rates are set by URS, and we just do what they say. Well, no, they're set by the legislature. We also removed a part-time finance clerk from the finance department and reclassified a policy and project manager to economic redevelopment manager. Sorry. Basically, this summarizes the rest of the expenditure changes in the general fund. It used to be that we charged each department for their use of IT altogether, both for the operations side and for equipment replacement. We split that out this year and are continuing to fund the operations, the things like paying for the internet and Office 365, but we have paused the equipment charges this year. I feel like the financial situation we're in and the financial situation the IT fund is, that's a sound thing for us to do. We can use some of that fund balance, and we can restart that up when we have the funds to do that. Otherwise, through 25 different line items across departments in the general fund, we had cuts from $100 to $5,000 that totaled over $31,000 across the general fund. And then for our one-time increases, we have our contribution to building a radio tower, our one-time contribution to the Community Renewable Energy Program that you guys adopted last meeting, our Boys and Girls Club grant, the city float, our legal professional service, the unemployment claims, and the education reimbursement are all being funded by fund balance. And then for ongoing expenditure increases, we have communication software, sign replacement, and a small increase for the Planning Commission. And then this is just the department budgets. This is technically the legal limit. These are like the legal, your adoption is this level at the department level. So administration went up just 1.5%, administrative services down 2.1%, public works just about stayed the same, and community development. A lot of that is due to some of the accounting changes I said, moving employee allocations and things like that. Okay. To move into the truth and taxation process, and now we're kind of moving into the proposed property tax rate for public safety. I just wanted to revisit the process and note some of the things that were different this year. Always in May, you've adopted a tentative budget, but this year we had to add the property tax impact schedule, which you've adopted and seen every meeting that we talk about the budget. New this year, Matt made that very impressive statement and intent to make the statement and all the shenanigans around the increase of the property taxes. I notified the county and the tax commission prior to June 1st that we were proposing an increase. You guys adopted a statement of intent to increase property taxes, and then we noticed our public hearing on the tentative budget. In June, we got our tax information and updated all of the information surrounding valuations and tax rates, had our public hearing on the tentative budget, and then tonight you will adopt you're considering adopting a proposed tax rate that includes an increase. And then a different thing is we used to just operate off of our tentative budget as that was adopted as of July 1st, but what we'll do now is adopting this interim budget that restricts the revenue that's generated by property tax increase, and then is valid until you adopt the final budget. And then from here, we have various noticing requirements, and including a valuation notice that will go to every property owner that shows the increases that are proposed throughout the county, and then we'll hold the public hearing. And we must allow for virtual participation in that meeting, which we will do. You guys will adopt the final budget. I get to put together a fat stack of evidence that said we did everything that we needed to do to the tax commission, file our budget with the state auditor, and then just the property tax impact schedule has to have been included as a separate item on the agenda. So there are just some differences to the process this year from previous years that hopefully are encouraging participation and that we're noticing our residents sooner and more often. For the Public Safety Special Revenue Fund, which is where we are proposing the property tax increase be. This fund was created in 2026 to house all of our public safety related revenues and expenses. So that includes, for revenues in this fund, we have our public safety property tax. The interim budget includes restricted revenue for the proposed increase. We have our state homeless mitigation funding. This is one of those things that affected the general fund because last year we put that into the general fund and moved it to the public safety fund. This year, we're just putting it straight into the public safety fund because that's the only thing that it funds. We have some interest revenue that is basically delinquent taxes coming in. Our motor vehicle in lieu of, that's new this year and related to the fact that this now has a property tax rate tied to it. And then the largest is a transfer from the general fund to the tune of something like $10 million. The only expenditures out of here are our animal control contract with Salt Lake County. This had a 4.7% increase. The emergency manager contract with Unified Fire had a 6.8% increase, and the Unified Police Department had just under a 3% increase. So here it is. I just wanted to show you specifically that we have a separate line item that is that proposed property tax, and it's restricted. For us, this doesn't really affect operations because in any given month, like the bills that we're paying to UPD are $1 million. And so that's really like, if they're saying we didn't get that, it would be something for us to deal like with our last bill to UPD, because otherwise we funded that all the way through. But the idea with restricting it in an interim budget is that there were some entities, I think, that before the property tax rate was adopted in August, then the things that it were meant to be funding, that money was beginning to be spent. So that was kind of the intent with restricting it, is that it makes it unspendable essentially until the property tax rate is actually adopted. So what we're proposing is an 8.04% increase on just the revenue that's generated by the public safety property tax. So as you can see, that's $948,000. So we're proposing 8% on that amount, which will generate us just under $80,000 in new revenue. It's taking the certified tax rate they gave us is 0.000246. This will put it at 0.000266, that 8.04%. The estimated increase to the average residential property is $5.54 per year, and for a commercial property of the same value, $10.06 per year. Moving on to kind of another item on here is this property tax impact schedule. This is in the budget book and is something you guys have to adopt separately, specifically for the interim budget. So you've seen now 4 or 5 iterations of this. I've changed it as every new information I've had came available, but this is what will be on the valuation notices and our legally required notices, is this information. Though I'm just realizing, I think that my last slide is wrong. It's maybe 8.13%, not 8.04. Okay, and then, moving on, finished with property taxes and onto our enterprise funds that are user fee generated. Here's an overview of those. All of our enterprise funds are healthy, and we are not proposing raising any rates. The only one that's dipping into fund balance this year is stormwater, and that's because of the purchase of a new camera truck that's a part of their master plan, and there's the fund balance to fund that. And you can see some small changes since the tentative budget for all of those. Those are related to moving to actual benefit selections and the COLA moving from 3 to 3.5%. So some notable changes, as I've just said. I should just go to my next slide and not talk ahead of myself sometimes. So citywide personnel changes are true across all of these funds. We have the new allocations, 3.5% COLA, 1% merit, market, and midpoint adjustments. Public Works also has career ladder adjustments, and then we had the benefit increases. There are a few minimal operation costs updates across the funds, and as noted, no rate increases for any of these. In water, we did have an 11.5% increase from Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District for the cost of the water we purchased from them, and then we've added funds to update the water master plan. Hasn't been updated since 2020. In the sewer, we had a 3.5% increase from our cost to the South Valley Water Reclamation Facility, and then had the addition of operation and maintenance costs related to a vac station that we're taking over from a developer. In the stormwater fund, we have the addition of the camera truck, as I discussed, and then the addition of ongoing capital outlay per the master plan as well. In the streetlight fund, we added additional funds for the equipment, supplies, and maintenance in anticipation of a master plan coming through and needing projects to go through for that. For the other funds that the city operates, we have our debt service fund. None of these have had changes. The Fleet and Information Technology Fund both have a few employees, so they had this minor salary and benefit changes. But otherwise, the Capital Project Fund stayed the same from the tentative. We're having our ongoing sidewalk replacement and pavement management plan which you just adopted some changes to. We are getting new restrooms at the Midvale City Park, and we have ongoing facility maintenance. And then for the fleet fund, vehicle replacements additions that will be funded this year is a mechanical lift, 2 dump trucks, senior bus, vac truck, 1-ton truck, a 4-wheeler, and the camera truck is the addition. And then we will be doing the scheduled annual computer replacements out of the IT fund. Okay, that's all of the budget things. Well, that's the budget, the interim budget. As a part of that, we always adopt a fiscal year fee schedule. We do have no changes from the fiscal year 2026 schedule. We just want to adopt it so it's applicable for fiscal year 27. Similarly, with our compensation pay plan, that's something that you guys adopt each year. This just reflects our COLA, moving all of our pay ranges to adjust for the 3.5% COLA. Any questions?
Thank you for that condensed version
No, it still
of
was a
the
while,
info,
sorry.
but you'll have one more opportunity to present all of it in its entirety in August, perhaps.
We luckily don't have to do all of that all over again.
Are there any, first I wanted to note, those of you, Chad and Bruno, who stuck around for this, typically, we don't allow for comments from the public on action items, but if you have any questions about any of this information, please give us a call, email, text, whatever. If you have any specific questions about what you just saw, we'll be available to talk about all of these numbers from now until final adoption of the budget in.
And after that.
And after that. So.
Call me anytime.
Yep, just didn't want you guys to think we were shutting you out of the question and comment period at this point, but there'll be more time for that as well. Any questions or comments from council?
I just want to say thank you. I know in addition to what you do here every time we meet, you also met with me individually and went through it in detail, which was really helpful. I know you've met with a lot of the residents, public, so thank you to your staff, and especially for keeping it lean and mean. I know you've done a lot of cuts to keep us at a low property tax, so I appreciate that.
I usually do give the kudos to all of the city staff and the department heads on that. That's not just me, that's a team effort.
So thank you.
Especially from such a lean budget to begin with, to even find $35,000 to cut from an already lean budget is very impressive. So thank you, and to all the department heads for that. So now comes the fun part, where we have 6 action items. Do you have those queued up?
So
on
I'm
your-
going to stay here in case you have questions about any of these specifically, but I do have them all in a row for you here.
Okay.
I'm sorry, but I did make it big.
So the first motion will be on action item B.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-R-34, adopting the certified property tax rate of Midvale City for calendar year 2026 and levying Midvale property taxes upon all real and personal property within the corporate boundaries of Midvale City, Utah for general operations.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. 1 second as I confer. Rory, we call the yeas and nays.
Yes, Councilmember Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
And Mikuláš.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. I was hoping that we could do all of the motions and one roll call vote, but I was quickly shot down.
I wish I could have done one resolution for them all.
Next motion will be for action item C.
Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-R-35, adopting a proposed public safety property tax rate on all real and personal property in Midvale City for calendar year 2026.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, we call the yeas and nays.
Yes, Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
And Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. The next motion will be for action item D.
Mayor, I move that we adopt ordinance 2026-0-21, adopting the fiscal year 2027 Midvale City municipal fee schedule and utility rates.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, we call the yeas and nays.
Yes, Councilmember Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
Brown.
Yes.
And Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. The next action item will be, or next motion will be for action item E.
I move that we approve ordinance 2026-0-22, adopting pay scales and setting salaries for elected and statutory appointed officers for Midvale City.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you do your thing?
Yes, Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Next motion will be for action item F.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-R-38, adopting the fiscal year 2027 Midvale City interim operating and capital budgets beginning July 1, 2026, and continuing until the adoption of the final budget.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Councilmember Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
And Billings.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Last but not least, the next motion will be for action item G.
I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-R-39, adopting the FY 2027 Midvale City interim budget property tax impact schedule.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeses and nos?
Yes, Councilmember Brown.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
And Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Thank you, Mariah. We'll see
I'll be
you
back.
later tonight at the podium. Next up, action item H, consider resolution number 2026-R40, adopting updates to the board and committee assignments for Midvale City. And frantically pulling it up next to me is City Manager Matt Dahl. I still think we need walk-down music for folks. So
We could do
You can
patriotic.
see.
I do have a handheld mic. Welcome, Matt.
Thank you. Let's see if we can do this.
I did think you were going to sing for the 250 proclamation.
I
I was
thought
ready
that
for you to
too.
break out in karaoke.
If you hear
What
me
happened?
sing in public, something is very, very wrong.
As you're aware, on an annual basis or as changes occur with staffing, we make changes to the committees and assignments list. You approve that by a resolution, and then we use that to inform our community partners of who our official representatives are. With the retirement of Glenn Kennedy and the appointment of the new director, Jeremy Thorne, one of the positions that Glenn held was as the primary contact for the Transjordan landfill. We've updated the list to only add Jeremy into that role. We've left open the secondary position until we know who has been selected as the new Deputy Public Works Director, and then we'll come back to you with a recommendation on who should fill that secondary spot. That being said, and I'm sorry, I know this always happens, and I know there's a button I should be able to stop from it switching, but I don't know what that is. And so, anyway, there's been one change. It's adding Jeremy to that particular board. Does anyone have any questions about that?
Kind of tangentially related, how is the deputy, this position, going, to, fill Jeremy's spot, right? Like,
Yeah,
I think it's still open for another week.
right?
yeah, it's,
And then,
Yes, we have,
are we getting applications and things like that, or what's the process?
we have 7 applications so far.
Is it, it just seems like a very important position, right?
Yeah.
So.
For
is,
sure.
Everything going okay without it? Are you losing your mind?
We're doing okay. We're set for first review next Monday
Okay.
of the applications, and we hope to get interviews going as soon as possible.
Good. It just seems like a really important position, so I just want to make sure, I'm sure you're doing everything, I just don't know what the timeline is for it.
yeah. We did want to wait until, we weren't going to fill it until Glenn officially retired, and so.
Gotcha.
But yeah, we got on it, and we will inform you of how that's progressing.
Wasn't Glenn involved in some aspect with Jordan Valley Water Conservancy District?
Yeah, it's an informal position.
Okay.
He goes there, he's not a board member. He is the person that we say should be at those meetings, but he doesn't have a vote or anything like that.
Okay, so he was just there to keep a watchful eye for Midvale's priorities.
That's right.
Okay, gotcha.
And we'll continue to have people there in
Okay.
that role.
All right, any questions or comments from council? If not, there's a motion on the board to consider.
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules and approve Resolution 2026-R-40, adopting updates to the board and committee assignments for Midvale City.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, we call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Councilmember Mikuláš.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to action item I. Consider resolution number 2026-R41, approving the Emergency Management Planning Services and Reimbursement Agreement. Matt, tell us about that.
Okay. All right. Jeremy, remind me that I need to research how to stop the automatic flipping of the slides. It's one of those things I always tell myself I'm going to do, and then I never do it. All right. And it's not showing up.
That's part of your new title, by the way. Didn't know if you knew that.
Well, I wanted to tell Caitlin, but she's not here, so.
All right, the Matt and Matt show.
You did?
So I just try to do exactly what I did. The same thing last time, and it didn't work. I don't.
Boom.
Okay.
Sorry.
As you probably recall, Utah state law requires us to provide certain emergency management functions within the city. I am officially the emergency manager for the city. However, we have been working with UFA in order to provide us with an emergency management planner to help us not only train staff, but also to generate a variety of different documents that are required in order for us to be prepared for an emergency. We have been working with UFA in order to fill that role. The most recent person in that position was Brian Buckout. I say that because he took a new position a couple weeks ago, and they have hired a new person in that spot, Ben Gustafson. His first day was today. I met him in the interviews. He will come in and we will get coordinated on the 18th. That being said, in order for us to have that position available to us, we have entered into an agreement with UFA. We receive services from this emergency management planner I'm sorry, I will come back to that. The flipping of the screen is driving me nuts up there. So anyway, so the planner works in several different cities, and their time is associated with different units of service, which is effectively a day a week for 8 hours. Midvale receives 2 units of time, and this year that cost to the city is $60,613. We are entering into a new agreement with the UFA, or we're proposing to enter into an agreement. The agreement mirrors the one that we entered into in 2019, which has now expired. We need to either enter into the new agreement or if the council is not inclined to do that, make the necessary changes so that we could be ready at the beginning of the next fiscal year. The contract that is proposed before you is a 5-year contract, similar to the previous one, and I guess that's kind of the details, and nothing specific has changed other than there has been an increase in the cost of the position. I'll now try to put this up here so you can see the motion, but of course, if you have any questions about it, I'd be happy to answer those.
I'll just add real quick, on the other side of this, at our UFA meeting earlier today, 7:30 a.m., 13 hours ago, we approved the other part of this as part of a budget amendment there, so peek behind the curtain. So doing this, I think, would definitely put an exclamation point on this process. Or spiking the football, I don't know, some sports term. Let's do that. It's been a long day.
I move that we suspend the rules and approve resolution number 2026-R-41, approving the 2026 Emergency Management Planning Services and Reimbursement Agreement between Midvale City and Unified Fire Authority.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Councilmember Billings.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
And Mikalash.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to our final action item of our city council meeting tonight. Action item J, consider resolution number 2026-R37, approving a budget appropriation resolution of Midvale City, amending the budgets of the general fund, public safety fund, capital projects fund, water fund, and sewer fund for fiscal year ending June 30th, 2026. You guessed it, Mariah Hill, back.
As we were sitting down for the open house, I went to approve payroll and said, that's way more money than I expected. And then I remembered that we had to pay someone retiring their payout, and so I needed to add that. So you have a physical copy of the budget amendment in front of you. There is one minor change. I will go through that, but that is the copy you are adopting. So in the general fund, we are increasing our sales tax revenue by $62,750. As I mentioned in the previous presentation, we had projected a 1% decrease. That's coming in better than we thought, so we are generating the sales tax to increase that revenue budget. We have salary and benefit updates across the general fund of about $55,000, just as people change their benefits if they had a baby, or some RHS payouts just that weren't accounted for in my original calculations. And then we do have the unemployment insurance claim started this fiscal year that I mentioned. We are transferring money to the public safety fund to account for the wildlife contract. That budget really is funded down to the dollar. There was no excess funding, so we needed to cover that with a transfer from the general fund. And then from a use of fund balance, because they are one-time costs, we have the transfer of capital projects of $1.3 million to capital projects transferred to public safety. Also for the there's some surveillance equipment that we said we would buy on top of their normal contracted amount, and then a transfer to the water fund of $4 million to help with the public works facility, and then a retirement payment of $30,000. In other funds, we have an increase to the public safety fund of $33,600 to account for those transfers to pay for the wildlife contract and the surveillance equipment, an increase to the capital projects budget to account for the general fund transfer. And then in the water fund and the sewer fund, we needed to record the proceeds from the sale of the bonds that we did in September of last year. We just didn't know when that timing of that was going to be. So recording those as revenue in the water fund, as well as a transfer from the general fund, and then the expense of the bond issuance costs, and then the sale of the bonds and the bond issuance costs in the sewer fund as well. And then here, just for the public, is what is in front of the council, is a department breakdown for the general fund, and then the public safety, capital projects, water fund, and sewer fund detail, which is all the same except for the one retirement item. Any questions or comments?
I didn't know you could make that much money retiring. I'm going to look into
He's
that.
been like saving. He hasn't taken a vacation day in however long, and I knew exactly what he was doing, and I should have thought about it sooner. And I'm cursing him post-retirement, just publicly.
Benefits he well earned.
Yes.
So, any questions or comments from council? Seeing none, there's a motion on the board to consider.
I move we adopt Resolution 2026-R37, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget for the General Fund, Public Safety Fund, Capital Projects Fund, Water Fund, and Sewer Fund as presented.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the roll?
Yes, Councilmember Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Mikalash.
Yes.
Billings.
Yes.
And Glover.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. I talked Matt out of a closed session tonight, so you're welcome for that extra 20 to 30 minutes. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay, we are adjourned from our city council meeting. We do have a redevelopment agency meeting tonight, so we will proceed with that. Welcome, everyone, to our Redevelopment Agency of Midvale City meeting, June 16th, 2026. We'll start with a roll call. Rory, will you see who is here and who may not, who may have left, if anyone?
Board Member Glover,
Here.
Billings,
Here.
Mikalash,
Here.
Brown,
Present.
and Robinson.
Here.
Okay, everyone is here. We'd love to see it. Moving on to public comments. Any person wishing to comment on any item not otherwise scheduled for a public hearing may do so by stepping up to the microphone if you have any comments you'd like to give. We're looking at you, Bruno, since you're the only member of the public still with us. We thank you for remaining. All right. Seeing no public comments, we'll move on to public hearing. We have one tonight, and that is to receive public comment on proposed budget amendments to the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Bingham Junction Redevelopment Agency Fund. Here to discuss that. Going to shock everyone. Budget related. Who's going to talk about it? Mariah.
Weird. Sometimes RDA,
Yeah,
I
that's
do
true.
make Kate do it. No, I have a presentation. Okay. It's the 8th one, I could have forgotten. I don't think so, I think it's no, yes, it is a PDF. It is a PDF. Okay, there's just this one change, that the Bingham Junction Fund was going to go over budget because the plaza did not fully finish by the end of fiscal year 2025. They made one payment in fiscal year 2026 that wasn't originally budgeted for because the project was supposed to conclude in 2025. So we just are budgeting this from fund balance, and that is the one change.
Okay, thank you. Any questions or comments from council? I will say one thing real quick. I did hear, no, you don't have to come back unless you want, but I did hear from a number of people, I don't know if you guys did too, during Mural Festival. A lot of people are very, very happy with the plaza and the food truck events that we have here. Although it wasn't utilized for Mural Festival this year, there were a number of people who came up to the table to say how much they enjoyed just, the transition and the change that's brought into the community. So money well spent. Is there anyone want to take a stab at the motion here?
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules and adopt resolution number 2026-16 RDA, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Bingham Junction Redevelopment Agency funds as presented.
Mayor,
Second.
we needed to open the public
Oh,
hearing.
yes.
Public comment.
Oh,
Comment.
Oh, yes, this is a public hearing. Is there a motion from the council to open this to public comment?
Mayor, I motion we open the public comment.
second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor of opening the public comment, say aye.
Yes.
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, Bruno, this is your chance. If you want to say anything about it, you good? Okay, is there a motion to close public comment?
Mayor, I motion we close public comment.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. All those in favor say yes.
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 Aye.
Are there any opposed? Okay, we are out of public comment, and now there is a motion on the board to consider.
Mayor, I move we suspend the rules and adopt resolution 2026-16 RDA, amending the fiscal year 2026 budget for the Bingham Junction Redevelopment Agency funds as presented.
Second.
Okay, now we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the roll?
Yes, Board Member Brown,
Yes.
Mikalash,
Yes.
Glover,
Aye.
Billings,
Yes.
and Robinson.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to the consent agenda, we have one item tonight, and that is to consider the minutes of June 2nd, 2026. Is there a motion to approve the consent agenda?
Mayor, I motion we approve the consent agenda.
Second.
Motion and a second. Rory, will you call the roll?
Yes, Board Member Mikalash,
Yes.
Glover,
Aye.
Billings,
Yes.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Brown.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. We'll move on to our action items. We have 3 of them tonight. First is to consider resolution number 2026-13 RDA, authorizing the execution of an amendment to an interlocal agreement between the Redevelopment Agency of Midvale City and Salt Lake County. Here to walk us through this is Kate. Welcome, Kate.
Yes, thank you, Chair, and thank you, Board. So this is a relatively simple amendment with Salt Lake County. So the agency and Salt Lake County entered into an interlocal agreement in 2021 regarding the participation of tax increment for the Main Street CDA. Since then, the Main Street CDA was triggered in 2024, meaning that we started to receive that tax increment. To date, the agency has received 2 years of the tax increment. And then I just wanted to note that the remittance for tax year 2024 included only Salt Lake County's portion. However, during this year's remittance, the Salt Lake County auditor provided the agency with tax increment from both Salt Lake County and for Salt Lake County Library. This was based on their legal interpretation that the Salt Lake County Library levies are subject to the same interlocal terms as their parent organizations unless otherwise explicitly stated in the interlocal agreement. I want to note that it was the intent of both the redevelopment agency and Salt Lake County to exclude the library from this specific TIF project area. So in order to fix that, we worked with Salt Lake County to draft an amendment to our interlocal agreement explicitly stating that the library will be excluded. The fiscal impact will remain the same. We'll only be getting a tax increment contribution from the county, which will make up 15% of the Main Street CDA's budget. This amounts to $2,264,812 over the next 20 years. And then if you have any questions, I'm happy to answer those. Otherwise, we have a recommended motion.
Any questions from the board?
Mayor, I move that we suspend the rules and pass resolution number 2026-13 RDA, authorizing the Chief Administrative Officer to execute an amendment to the interlocal cooperation agreement between the Redevelopment Agency of Midvale City and Salt Lake County regarding the Main Street Community Development Area.
Second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Rory, will you call the yeas and nays?
Yes, Board Member Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
And Mikuláš.
Yes.
Okay, that passes unanimously. Moving on to action item B, consider resolution number 2026-14 RDA, authorizing the Chief Administrative Officer to enter into an agreement for artists commissioned work with Cloud Study LLC. Here to discuss that is Moira. Welcome, Moira.
Hi, Council. RDA Board. You may recall, I think the first item I ever brought to you was updating our public art guidelines to include sculptures. So that is the reason I am before you today. Last fall, we released a call for artists asking artists to send in their portfolios for a new sculpture across from the food truck plaza that would act as an entryway to Main Street. We received 62 artist applications, and the Artist Design Advisory Board, which consisted of members of staff, a city council member, thank you, and a member of the Main Street community, all met to narrow it down to 3 different finalists, and then it was narrowed down to 1 final artist, which is Cloud Study LLC. And then the Design Advisory Board, looking at their proposal, said, we really think this could do with some lighting, so we asked the artist to please go back, add some lighting to your cost proposal, to your proposal, and send it back to us, which they did, which is why I'm before you today. So here's the timeline. It's taken a long time for our artists to put together a lighting design proposal, which is great. But here's just a little background on our timeline. Here's where the location of the sculpture will be across from the food truck plaza. And the goals of the artwork that we gave the artists to help guide them when they made their proposals, you can see they were directed to honor Midvale's past and future, create a sense of place, engage with the viewers, and consider durability and maintenance, which was also part of our public art guidelines. And then the selection criteria that was also given to the artists and used by the Design Advisory Board, just making sure that this was a very unique piece that you wouldn't see anywhere else in the valley. Here is our presentation from our artist, Sujin Lim, the owner of Cloud Study LLC. Her piece is titled A Place for Dreams. Here are some of her work samples. Her other work has been displayed in some pretty cool places. She's from South Korea, but she's based in New York. Her art has been exhibited in the Brooklyn Museum in New York, the Seoul Museum of Art, Museum of Moscow, other countries. She's a pretty big deal, which we were very excited about. decided to come to Midvale, which we did not ask any of the artists to come to Midvale, but even before she was the chosen artist, she chose to come and take a look around Midvale, and she was really inspired by the colors that she saw around Midvale and Main Street specifically, the mountains, our brick, our art. She loved the fact that we were an art district. Here are the things that really stood out to her. Here are some of the goals that she saw that we needed. And she decided that this artwork should be organic and whimsical, so she came up with an element of clouds, a bird, and a house to create a place for dreams.
Ooh.
Here's some of her renderings. And this is the rendering that really made the design advisory board say, I think we need to add lighting to this proposal, because that looks really cool. Some interesting things about this piece of work is the poles that you see holding up the cloud. That is meant to symbolize rain, soft rain. Here are some of the more technical aspects. So it's going to be 24 feet, 4 inches tall, about 25 feet. Here is a bit that she gave us. The floating clouds express dreaming and the growth of imagination. The small house symbolizes a place where people gather, stay, and carry their dreams forward. And the bird represents nature, bringing a gentle reminder of the natural world into the urban environment. And maintenance, because we asked every artist to please provide how we will keep this looking nice for many years to come. The artwork should be power washed every 2 years, and a clear coat should be inspected every 7 years to see if there's any damage. And here is the budget, and you can see that we broke out the ground lighting at the very bottom. That was the additional cost. So the total comes to $114,390. The fiscal impact of this, half of this budgeted amount would come out of the fiscal year 26 Bingham Junction Public Art Fund, and the other half would come out of the fiscal year 27 Bingham Junction Public Art Fund. Terms of the agreement, the artist is going to handle pretty much everything. We are going to be able to inspect at every step of the process, but she is in charge of managing all of it. 50% of the purchase price will be paid upon execution, 30% upon fabrication, 20% upon installation, and those are the times when we'll be able to inspect and make sure everything looks good. And then if there are any defects within the first 2 years from completion of the relocation, the relocation, removal, or repair will be at the expense of the artist. So it does give us 2 years if, it doesn't come up to snuff. Now here's a recommended action. I'm happy to send it back to the pictures or answer any questions.
Any questions from the board?
I love it. I was on the committee, though. I do want to say, there was so many to choose out of and such variety, right? And there was a lot of discussion back and forth on something a little bit more traditional about our history or something more about the industry that was here, right? And I can't remember who made the talking points, but they're like, this is like the future. And people are going to want to come here and get their picture taken with this. We want them to engage with it, right? And it's so different from everything else. And at first I was like, well, we're kind of, we're Midvale. What are we doing here? Getting a little edgy. But after you think about it and they talk about it, I'm so excited. I think this is going to be something people are going to talk about and want to come down and see. So those are just my 2 cents.
Going to be our well, right?
I was going to say, Salt Lake City has their whale. We have our bird house.
I think
cloud.
it's awesome. The only thing I would think is I would even be cooler if it was taller. That way it could be really seen. Because 24 feet's pretty tall, but I think that would fade pretty quickly, with this building in the way. But that's other than that, I think it's awesome. I really like the lighting. The lighting really makes it.
Yeah, that's what I was about to say. Thank you so much for including the night pictures with the light so we get the full idea of it, because I think, seeing in the daytime is one thing, but to your point, people are going to come and see this, and at night, it's going to be it's going to catch your eye. You're not going to be able to drive by and be like, what is that? So I'm very excited.
Well, and I think it speaks to the uniqueness that we're trying to create on Midvale, Maine, rather than have it be something that doesn't really fit what we're doing on Midvale, Maine. This does fit, and I think it's really exciting.
I think it's crazy, but.
I saw your look, I knew it.
I just like, that is really different. When you first put up her stuff she's doing, I go, how are we gonna get that to look decent?
Yeah, the concept she has for us, I think, is very good. There was like a room or something, right? I'm like, how's this gonna work? But yeah.
I think it's bold. I think it's one of those things that the vast majority of us will love, but as with any art installation, there probably will be people who don't like it. But that, as I always like to say, is the point of public art, is to create a conversation about the art itself. So
And a lot of the people that don't like it will probably not like it for the cost purposes anyways, right? So no matter what it looks like, that, you know, why should the city spend money on this, and we can't not do stuff because, you know, a small percentage is gonna dislike. I think money well spent, because it will bring people to the area.
Oh, yeah.
Change our perception, of what Midvale is. So I think it's a good idea.
Well, it's very unique. I don't, I can't think of anything out there like that, and that really goes towards what we're trying to create here. Like, it might not be everybody's cup of tea, but somebody's gonna really love that.
Yeah.
So, like, you know what I
And
mean?
it's
And I
right
think-
across from the food truck plaza, right?
Yeah.
So it's going to get a lot of exposure based on the traffic that we've seen just from,
Yeah.
the recent food trucks. So I think it will add to that as another conversation piece.
Yeah, I think
The
that's
only,
fantastic.
the only problem I have is we got the Midvale sign there. Isn't that right by it there?
The marquee thing.
Yeah.
Oh, our
Can you
flashing
bring the picture
sign.
back up?
It is, but you have to remember, this is going to be quite a bit higher than.
I realize
so
that, so that's not, but my problem is the way we've designed that
they'll look-
plaza.
They'll look
the-
at that,
the
the art instead of the
trees-
sign, right?
The trees are gonna cover the sign up in a few years. You won't even see that sign. So I'm not sure I like that being right there with that. I mean, I like where the artwork's going, but that sign, I think we made a big mistake putting it where we put it.
Can we move it?
Oh, regardless of the artwork.
Yeah, I think
Regardless of the
outside,
artwork,
yeah.
if we weren't even gonna do the artwork, we need to cut some trees down right now. But
we
the
could keep
sign
look-
is gonna, I don't know,
We can keep looking at the sign. There's not a lot of good options for the sign, unfortunately.
I just know the trees you put in there, you won't see the sign here in a couple of years. And it's cheaper to cut them down now than it is later.
Well, and I wonder if it's, to Nate's point, because I know that we took a while, we struggled on where this one should be located. And maybe we just need to look at if there is another location and try to explore that somewhere else.
But anyhow, that's just a concern that I have, but I don't mind the location.
I have one quick question. I did take note of the total cost. Yeah, there it is. So and maybe this is just for sculptures in general. So the total price, which again, I agree with Councilmember Brown, money well spent. But the fact that, 10% of that, less than 10% of that is what we're actually paying the artist to do it, seems low to me. And, I have nothing to base that on other than like putting in $101,000 worth of stuff and getting paid 13 grand for doing that. Does that seem low? I mean, is that just
the
standard?
24 feet steel pipe or whatever times 20 is gonna cost a ridiculous amount of money, right? So
Yeah.
I wouldn't I think for sculptures, your material cost is so outrageously higher than painting that it's probably, she's well-known, so she would be pointing it out to us if I think we were off the
I was gonna
parquet.
say, yeah, at the end of the day, I want the artists to feel that they were, well, not overly compensated, but compensated to a point where they're excited to do the project. And I assume that that she is, but that
She
just
put
struck
together
me.
this cost proposal, and with the original cost proposal, before we added in the lighting element, she also was about at 14%, so I think that's just her general.
But is she painting the poles?
She is not, no.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting. I'll do it for $2,000, it looks like. I got it.
We want it to last.
Oh, yeah, hey. I used to do the last 3 years.
The fact that she came to Midvale to scope it out is
Very
you know,
cool.
definitely says a lot for her character. So that's, I can't wait for this to be done, pending the approval of the board here in one moment. There is a action for you guys to consider.
I move that we suspend the rules and pass resolution number 2026-14 RDA, authorizing the chief administrative officer to enter into an agreement for artist commission work with Cloud Study LLC.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. For the final time tonight, Rory, will you call the roll?
Yes.
one
Board member
Oh, never mind.
Billings.
One more.
Oh, one more. Billings.
Yes.
Robinson.
Aye.
Brown.
Yes.
Mikuláš.
Yes.
And Glover.
Aye.
Okay, that passes. Sorry, we do have one more action item for this evening.
Kate does not get as cool of a presentation.
Yep.
Oh, not Kate.
Consider resolution number 2026-15 RDA adopting the redevelopment agency of Midvale City fiscal year 2027 budget beginning July 1st, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027. Here to discuss this is Mariah. Mariah, take us home.
Since we're all friends, I'll just tell you, I just put this together while I was sitting over there about 4 minutes ago. Oh, no, I don't want to do that. Well, I do. Look how sweet they are. Okay. Help me, my brain has lost it. Anyways, we're going to adopt the final budget of the RDA. You held a public hearing for it at our previous meeting. What do you? Oh.
I clicked it too soon.
Okay. The only changes from the tentative budget to this is the salary changes from 3 to 3.5% and the actual benefit. So that's just in this operations budget. There is that change, and then there are no salary and benefits in the Bingham Junction, Jordan Bluffs, or Main Street funds, so those have no changes since the tentative budget. There is some salaries and benefits in the citywide housing, so that reflects that change. And that is all. Do you have any questions?
Any questions for Mariah?
Here's your motion I just put together.
Okay, there's a motion for the board, sorry, not the council, to consider.
Mayor, I move that we adopt Resolution 2026-15 RDA, adopting the redevelopment agency of Midvale City fiscal year 2027 budget beginning July 1, 2026 and ending June 30th, 2027.
Okay,
Second.
motion and a second. Rory, for the final time tonight, and the last time as your name being Rory Andreasen,
There you go.
will you call the roll?
Yes. Board member Mikuláš.
Yes.
Glover.
Aye.
Billings.
Yes.
Robinson.
Aye.
And Brown.
Aye.
Okay, that passes unanimously, and that is assuming that you're changing your name. I guess I shouldn't have made that assumption, but we do not have a closed session tonight. Is there a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor of adjournment, say yes.
Yes.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, we are adjourned, everyone. Thank you.